You've probably seen a crime show, right? They're gripping, a little spooky, but at the end of the day, it's just TV. Or is it? What happens when someone stops seeing these shows as entertainment and starts using them like a how-to guide? We're about to dive into a case from Udaipur that does exactly that, where a popular show might have provided the blueprint for a nearly perfect murder. So get this. The perpetrator allegedly watched 1,300 episodes of a single crime show. Think about that. Not for fun, not to pass the time. No, he was studying. His chilling purpose? To learn, step by step, how to dispose of a body and get away with it. And that really brings us to the big question here, doesn't it? Is this stuff just entertainment? Or can it become a user manual for murder? This is a classic example of what experts call the copycat effect, where media, totally by accident, teaches someone the mechanics of a crime. In this case, well, it forces us to look that uncomfortable idea right in the face. Okay, so to really get how this all went so horribly wrong, we have to rewind. Let's go back to the beginning. The story kicks off with two people from totally different worlds who meet at a temple. Both of them were looking for some kind of escape, some kind of salvation. So who were they? On one side, you've got Rahul. He's 36, and he's kind of stuck, you know? He's still living under his father's roof, helping him out as a priest at the temple, but he doesn't really have his own life. And on the other side is Bhanupriya. She's 33, a mother of two, and her life has just been turned upside down. Her husband threw her out, and she's literally seeking refuge at the temple. Rahul, seeing her situation, felt for her and decided to help. And then, a few months later, her divorce goes through and she loses custody of her kids. I mean, she's completely alone. So Rahul does something huge. He takes her with him to the city of Rajsamand to start over together. He even opens up a little tea business to support the two of them. And for a little while, it seemed like it was working. You know, a fresh start. They're living together, basically as husband and wife. Rahul finally has a partner, someone to build a life with. But that dream, it soured pretty quickly. That sense of ownership he felt turned toxic, and their home became, well, a war zone. So what happened? What went wrong? Well, Rahul became super possessive. He hated it when Bhanupriya's family called her, and he started trying to cut her off from them completely. Their arguments just got more and more frequent, more intense, until their life together was just one big fight. Now, there's another layer to this that makes it even more complicated. Bhanupriya had epilepsy, and according to Rahul, when they fought, it would trigger these hyper-aggressive episodes. She would apparently lose control and just attack him physically with whatever she could find. This totally twisted his whole idea of her being this woman he was supposed to be saving. So it all comes to a head on May 12th, 2020. Rahul gets home from work, he's tired, he's hungry, he asks a simple question about dinner, and boom, it explodes into this huge fight. This time, Bhanupriya allegedly grabs a washboard and just starts beating him with it. And after months and months of this, something inside Rahul just snaps. In this sudden, unplanned burst of rage, he grabs her and strangles her. And by the time that rage cools down, it's over. It's too late. And this right here is where the story pivots. It goes from a crime of passion to a cold, calculated cover-up. And where does he get the inspiration for this cover-up? Straight from his TV screen. Look, he could have turned himself in, but he didn't. Instead, pure panic and fear took over. He chose to hide what he did, not confess. And, in a really twisted way, luck was on his side. This was happening during the peak of the COVID-19 lockdown. All his neighbors had gone back to their villages. That meant there was literally no one around to ask, hey, where's Bhanupriya? So, remembering what he'd seen on all those crime shows, he starts this incredibly meticulous process. First, he finds a big plastic drum from a nearby construction site. Then, he puts Bhanupriya's body inside. He adds chemicals, just like on TV, to speed up decomposition and hide the smell. And finally, he seals the whole thing shut with cement. Okay, this next part is, honestly, it's hard to wrap your head around. For 2 whole years, Rahul lives a normal life with that drum sitting in the corner of his apartment, just treating it like a piece of furniture. And the whole time, what's he doing? He's binge-watching hundreds more episodes of crime shows, basically researching the perfect way to get rid of it for good. So he planned the whole cover-up based on what he saw on TV.
But there was one thing he didn't plan for: basic science. After 2 years, his perfect plan starts to unravel. And it's not because of some brilliant police work. Nope, it's because of a simple leak.
So what happened was, inside that sealed drum, the decomposition process was creating these really toxic liquids and gases. And that corrosive stuff eventually just ate right through the plastic. The drum started to leak, and it let out this unbelievable stench. A smell so bad his landlord, Satyanarayan Paliwal, simply couldn't ignore it.
So the landlord confronts him about the smell, and Rahul has nowhere to hide. He breaks down and confesses everything, tells him the entire story. So what do you think the landlord does? I mean, the obvious move is to call the cops, right?
Well, in a twist I don't think anyone saw coming, the landlord does the exact opposite. He's terrified he's going to get dragged into this, for having a body on his property for 2 years. So he decides to help Rahul get rid of it. The two of them take the drum to a deserted spot, they set it on fire, and then they grind up the leftover bones into dust. They destroyed every single piece of physical evidence.
With the evidence totally gone, Rahul should have been in the clear, but he gets caught in 2024 for something so unrelated and, frankly, so stupid. He'd gotten into selling illegal arms, and the police picked him up for carrying a gun near a university. So he's at the police station, and then this incredible stroke of luck happens. For the police, not for Rahul. A constable there recognizes him. He actually remembers Rahul and Bhanupriya from years back when they'd filed a domestic dispute complaint. And it strikes him as weird that she's not with him anymore. That little bit of suspicion is enough to start a real interrogation about where she is. And under that pressure from the police, Rahul cracks and confesses to the murder.
Okay, so the police have a confession, case closed, right? Not so fast. This is where the real legal nightmare begins. Because he did such a good job getting rid of the evidence, the prosecutors are now facing a huge problem. It's a legal principle called corpus delicti, which literally means the body of the crime. It's the idea that you have to prove a crime actually happened before you can convict someone of it. And here's the paradox they're stuck in. The police have Rahul's detailed confession, right? But here's the thing. A confession made to police during an interrogation, it's not admissible as the main piece of evidence in court. And with no body, no weapon, and no crime scene, there is zero physical proof that a crime even took place. He can just take back his statement, and the prosecution is left holding nothing.
Yeah, this really shows you the problem. In a courtroom, a confession to the police just doesn't mean much without some kind of physical evidence to back it up. And in this case, that physical evidence bar, it's at absolute zero. The entire case is hanging by a thread on a statement that Rahul can and probably will take back.
And that's where we are right now. The case is just stuck in legal limbo. So even though he admitted what he did, for now, Rahul has basically gotten away with murder. The very TV show methods he used to destroy the evidence have made it almost impossible for the law to actually hold him accountable for it. This whole case leaves us with a really chilling question, doesn't it? It just shows you the limits of a justice system that's built on physical proof. It makes you wonder, if a crime is committed, but every single trace of it is erased so perfectly that it can't be proven, does that mean, in the eyes of the law, that it never even happened?